coming after me. Y'all favorite came after me. My fans up and them bands up, bring my fam up. The mentality, these niggas be faking. The mentality, these niggas be hating. The mentality.
All right, y'all. So you all have been asking me about mini-map awareness and positioning and stuff like that. And also, I had somebody message me earlier about adapting, which was weird because basically, like, what I've realized is haters just look for a reason to hate, and honestly at this point I'm no longer gonna address them, man, because I'm just trying to chill with y'all. We just gonna make the content that y'all want to see, and we just gonna chill. We just gonna be cool. Like, people who want to get better can watch. People who want to hear what I have to say and be a part of the discussions can watch. If people don't, then oh well. Like, I mean, that's on them. Like, at this point, people like the Mobile Legends community don't want to listen, and that's why the community is in the state that it's in. And maybe they're just not ever gonna listen. Maybe it's just gonna keep going downhill and downhill. But hey, whatever, man. Whatever happens at this point in time. But I will address this guy who said, "Oh, you used to say in your videos adapt." When I used to say adapt in my videos, what I meant was at that time there was not as many dominant assassins as there are right now. So when you're adapting in Mobile Legends, basically that means you have to adapt within the mechanics of what Mobile Legends is capable of. Early game, marksmen just cannot do too much adapting. Marksman has to play and protect their life because the job of a marksman is to stay alive. That's the job of a marksman. So if you adapt and try to rotate and help, like that's the thing. People always say, "Oh, you're not rotating, you're not helping your team." They say something like that. Certain situations, I know for a fact I will not make it to my team in time before they die. So it's not worth going and risking my life walking through a jungle to try and protect my team when I'm more than likely just going to die with them. Because even if I make it to them and do a little bit of damage, I don't have too much damage early game. So that comes down to quality decision making. You have to make the decision, is it worth it? Can you provide enough to that team fight or that engagement? And should your teammates even be in that position right now? Is there a way they could have avoided that team fight? Is there a way that they could have avoided that engagement? And usually you can avoid engagements. Like, you can see the engagement before it comes and you can avoid it. So a lot of people just get, like, when your team gets into a fight that they shouldn't be in, that doesn't mean you jump in it too, because if you jump in it, that's a terrible decision as a marksman in certain situations. It's a terrible decision because you are much more valuable if you take your time to get fed. So as long as your team stay alive and can survive until late game, like even if they're getting smacked, if they can survive until late game, there's a chance that you can win, especially if you're a marksman player. So that being said, when it comes down to adapting, when you're a marksman player, you have to adapt within the restraints of your role. So that means you have to be aware of what the role is and you have to adapt accordingly. Like, marksmen just cannot adapt early game. There's no adapting that you can do to support your team. You will not do that much damage early game. The best thing you can do for your team is make sure that you're getting fed, make sure you're capitalizing on every second, and make sure you're not dying. Because when your team dies, it doesn't really matter. When you die, you're not going to get that damage that your team needs in order to win that game. Like, when you have a marksman, your team needs you to deal that damage. So if you die, it's like, that hurts your team 10 times worse. Like, really, if you let another player die, like if you had an early game hero where you could actually help, that might help. It only hurts a little bit. If you die and you're a marksman, and you basically do way more damage if you die and you're a marksman, because then it's going to take you longer to get fed. Then the other team is going to get even more fed and stuff like that. So that's why it's the job of a marksman not to die. So when you talk about adapting and stuff, what you have to understand is it's very important that you also have great decision making, because there's a time to adapt and there's a time to rotate and help, and then there's a time not to. You have to know when that decision should be made. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Also, let's talk about the mini map awareness thing. Really, it just comes down to paying attention and practicing. Honestly, nobody is perfect when it comes to mini map awareness, but there are little small key moments where, like, your minion sees a person or one of your teammates sees a person and you can see them on the mini map. You have to see that. Like, if you see somebody who just crept down from top lane, they get spotted middle lane by a minion or something, and the way that they're moving when they get spotted, it looks like they're heading down towards you in the bottom lane. That's when you start to think about your positioning, start to think about their abilities, what they're capable of, and what they're going to be doing if they try to engage you, and that's when you start thinking up a counter strategy right then on the spot. You look at how many people are on the map, where the other people are. So let's say you see where everybody is on the map except for one person who's just creeping around and you only saw them for a brief second. So now you know these players are over there, so they're not helping this player. This player is here by themselves. So can I take this player in a 1v1, or should I stay under the tower? Or even if I'm under the tower, can they dive me? If you're under the tower and they can dive you, you call for help and you bag up off the tower. Because they can you don't want them to melt, you don't want to go down. At that point, it's going to be worth, even if it's two people, more than likely two people can dive you. If it's a tank and somebody who does high damage, they can dive you. So you want to back up off that tower. That's a situation where you give the tower up, because the thing that's going to happen is they're going to kill you and then they're going to take the tower. You might as well just let them take the tower and don't die. Don't risk your life. Like, there are certain situations where you let the tower drop in order to stay alive, but that also comes huge with decision making, because you could just let a tower die and it's a very, very bad decision because you could have protected that tower. So it's situational, and then it comes with decision making. You just have to, honestly, in order to get better with decision making, you have to make the wrong decisions so you know what decisions are right. Just make sure you don't make the same bad decision twice. Like, that's what I'll say. Just make sure you don't make the same bad decision twice. So and make sure you learn from your decisions. So every time you get into a situation, it should remind you of another situation. You should remember what happened in that situation, and you should think, can I play this better? Is this everything that I can do right now? Could I be doing something better than what I'm doing right now? Because when I'm farming and stuff, and then I look around and I see there's nothing in the jungle, that's the next thing that comes to my mind. Okay, what can I be doing right now that's going to benefit the team? Do I rotate and try to help middle lane? Do I push up this tower? What assassin do they have on this team? Is it worth me trying to push up this tower, or am I just going to get ganked and one bursted? Like, decision making comes down to really, really thinking about the situation that you're in at that point in time and making the best decision you can, or the decision that you feel is right, and trying to do what you can to support your team, to basically do everything you can to get your role completed, which for a marksman hero is basically just taking the time to farm, doing the best job that you possibly can when it comes down to farming. And last but not least, let's talk about positioning a little bit. When it comes down to positioning, it can be pretty tricky, but you should know how to play every single hero. You should know what every single hero is capable of. And honestly, I don't know how to play every single hero. I don't play Gashin that much, but I do know his range. Like, it's only so many times you can go against somebody without knowing what they're capable of. So when you get hit with Gashin, like the first time Gashin hits you, you're like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. But when it's the 100th time Gashin has tried to dive you, at some point you know exactly what his range is, what he's capable of doing, how quickly he can burst you down. At some point you know these things. Same with a hero like Harley. When Harley jumps out and hits you with his ultimate once, you kind of get shocked, like, whoa, I didn't know he could do that. But then once you've seen it like 1,000 times, you know it's coming. You know what he can do. You know what he's capable of. So it really comes down to positioning yourself, where if you know you're playing and Harley is in the game, you have to, like, basically, you have to be in a position where even if he dives out and jumps out, he's still not in range close enough to hit you with his ultimate, or to hit you even if he does get his ultimate off. So that's what positioning is. It's staying at an angle, or staying somewhere where they can't easily hit you. So let's say Gashin, for instance. Gashin has to throw one of those things at you, and basically he can teleport on you. To make sure he doesn't hit you with that, you can stay angled behind one of your minions. So if you're on the left side of the right side of the map. If you're on the right side of the map, you're on the right side in those bushes, and Gashin can be coming from mid lane, from in the middle of the lake area. You basically want to stay on the right side and always keep a minion between you and the mid lane, the middle lake part. Always keep a minion between that. You don't want to be in that jungle area because it's too risky. You don't want to be near that. If you know a hero's range and you know that they can, like, the Gashin can throw that at you, like, you want to make sure that there's something in front of you stopping him from being able to just easily tag you and dive you. So position yourself in a position where, just in case he's there, like, you don't even have to know that he's there, but you know, if you know that he's in a game and you don't know where he is in that game, position yourself because there's a chance that you could be getting ganked. So you just gotta always keep that in mind when you're a marksman. As a marksman player, you're always expecting somebody to dive you, and that's what people gotta understand about playing marksman basically is you are always expecting people to be somewhere that they just should not be because it's their job to gank you. You're an easy target. Like, you know how easy of a target you are. Everyone knows how easy of a target you are. So you're just always, you should always be on high alert expecting someone to try to dive you because you're an easy target. And if you're always expecting to be dove, you should play like it. You should play in the best position where they can't dive you that easily. But that's pretty much it, man. Though those are some of the tips that I have about positioning, decision making, mini-map awareness, and adapting. That's pretty much all the tips that I have about that. We could go further into detail and stuff if you all need to. I can show you all some examples if that's what you all want. Let me know what type of content you all want to see down in the comment section below. What other topics do you all want to talk about, man? But that's pretty much it, man. Thanks for watching, as always. Thanks for all the love and support. I definitely appreciate it. We're going to get back to talking about a bunch of different topics as well. So yeah, just let me know what you all want to talk about in the comment section, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, fam. Peace out, y'all.
I'm on it. Can't fail for my family, I want it. So they'll never